Chris Spiker for AV Nice. We're with Dean Henderson. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Mortgage?
Mortgage, yes.
Is it Mammoth Mortgage?
No. You know, Mammoth Mortgage, I had two companies. I had Mammoth Mortgage and Financial Independence Mortgage. And I had created Financial Independence Mortgage as kind of like a subsidiary of Mammoth Mortgage to do special kinds of government loans, reverse mortgages and basically government loans. So for a period from about 2000 until 2007, government loans kind of evaporated. We weren't doing government loans anymore. We were doing conventional and subprime loans where people didn't have to verify anything. So that's what Mammoth Mortgage did. It's just that that business was so busy and we did so much business with those kind of products that the marketing for Mammoth Mortgage is the one that everybody saw. So we had the bus, we had all the different advertising for Mammoth Mortgage for a particular kind of loan. In 2007, just about overnight, that loan completely evaporated. It was gone. Poof.
Wow.
Yeah, it gone overnight. All these companies that we would deal with that did these kind of loans, they went bankrupt all in the same year.
Wow.
There was a website called something Mortgage Lender Implosion, something like ML Implode. And every day we would log on to that and just watch every company that was added to the list that was imploding.
Your world changed.
It was hundreds of them, right?
Yeah.
So now a lot of my friends who had mortgage companies didn't have a government side because we weren't doing the government side so much anymore. Nobody wanted a government loan. Nobody wanted to verify anything. And on the government side, it's very expensive to keep these government approvals. So we have to have the FHA approval and the VA approval. And every year we have to go through these very rigorous government audits. Yeah. And they come into the office,
time.
thousands of dollars and time.
Yep.
I would have the whole accounting firm come to my office and spend a week in my office looking through every single file to audit us. We'd have to have fully audited returns.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies are like, oh, thank God I don't have to do that anymore, because when you're doing subprime loans, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
I kept doing it for several years because we were kind of doing reverse mortgages and trying to get those going. And then that just kept our government approvals alive when everybody else had given them up. And then when the market turned overnight in 2007, I already had this entity, Financial Independence, which I had all my approvals under, and all of the product that we did under Mammoth evaporated. So for a little while, I kind of kept the Mammoth name going, and then I'm like, I'm not doing any business under Mammoth. I'm doing all my business under Financial Independence. Yep. So then I'm like, okay, I'll start doing my marketing under Financial Independence.
Speaking of marketing, you're quite the marketer. Quite the marketer.
I'm always just trying to think of something to be different. So years ago, like when I had my first billboards, when I first came to town in 1988, 89, I was, a new guy. Nobody knew who I was. And there was a couple of companies in town that were like the big, giant Goliath companies. I think it was Director's Mortgage was huge.
Right.
Director's Mortgage. And there was a couple of guys at Director's Mortgage who were like the gods of mortgages. And so when I'd go around to the real estate offices and solicit for business, they would all say, oh, we never heard of your company. You're going to be fly-by-night. You're going to be out of business. We don't want to deal with you because we don't know who you are. We don't know if you're going to be around. And then we would also always hear, Chris and Craig were the guys at Directors. Oh yeah, but Chris and Craig, they're going to be here forever. And they were great guys. But, two guys can't do the whole town's worth of mortgage. Yeah. So for several years, they kept saying that, I don't know. Or we would work with buyer's agents who, knew us real well. But then when they would submit an offer to a listing agent and they would write our name on it, the loan is going to be done by Dean Henderson and such. And they're like, who's this guy? We never heard of him, right? So they would be reluctant to take offers because, they hadn't heard of us. So then one day I'm like, one day I was driving down the street and I saw a friend of mine who was a realtor put up a billboard, and it was Greg Galley. And every day I'd go home from work and Greg Galley had this billboard.
The billboard was on Sierra Highway.
Something like that, either Sierra Highway or 10th, one of the two. But every day when I drove home from work, I'm seeing Greg staring at me. Yeah. And I'm like, I need to do that. Yeah. So I went and got a billboard, and I had kind of a signature look. It was a cross between
Classic.
Uncle Sam Wants You and Larry Parker. So that was just my signature thing. So I put that on the billboard, and I think that, I always have to have the pink finger in there, but it just became my trademark. And
So that's the secret.
that, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that I just had kind of a thing, you know, because then when people see me, they're always like, hey, you know, so they like, you know. So I put the billboard up, and immediately I went from being the guy I never heard of to like, oh yeah, I know that guy. They didn't know me. They just saw me going down the street.
Right.
So it almost,
Now we're friends.
they just knew me.
Yeah.
You know? And so that, you know, I left that billboard up for a while. I wound up being up maybe 3 years. And now all of a sudden, everywhere I go, everybody knows me. You know, I go to restaurants, the waitresses are like, I know you. I mean, people all over the place, I know you. So I didn't do anything different. I just put up a billboard, you know? And the funny thing about billboard is it kind of imprints in your brain. So you see it so many times, it becomes part of the landscaping, but it's imprinted in your brain.
Still in there.
So when the billboard went down, for years later, I would have people saying, hey, I saw your billboard the other day. And I wouldn't, you know.
Isn't that the truth?
It's been gone for 5 years. I would, you know, yeah, sure, great, you know.
Hey, you know, I follow you on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And you're celebrating your freedom from cancer for
Right, 14 years. 14 years. They said when the last treatments I got was a bone marrow transplant. So when they do the bone marrow transplant, they like pump you full of poison until everything's dead in your body. And then once you have no more blood counts or anything, then they put your stem cells back in and bring you back alive again. So they say that's your new birth date. So my new birth date was Groundhog's Day, which is February 2nd, 2005. So that was like one of the last of my treatments where they brought me back. But prior to that, it was stage 4 lymphoma. And I remember when I got the day that, you know, the doctor walked into the hospital room, the oncologist, and he already kind of figured out what I had, and I asked him, hey, what are my chances, you know, with this thing? He's 50-50. I'm thinking 50-50,
Wow.
That's not good.
Yeah.
You know? But anyways, they pounded me with all kinds of chemotherapy and radiation and the bone marrow transplant, and they turned me from stage 4 to like completely clean. I mean, I'm healthier now today than I was before that happened. So
Nice chatting with you.
You too?
Dean Henderson, for all your mortgage needs in the Antelope Valley,
Yep.
or you probably even travel, wouldn't you?
I do. I mean, my thing is the fast and easy lender. My deal is we get in, we do it fast and get it over with. So the goal is always to get you, you know, in and closed in like, you know, 10 to 14 days.
Very good.
So
Thanks for chatting with us.
Thank
Chris
you.
Spiker for AV Nice.